Hello again, my little militia levies, and welcome to another Mordian Glory video. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Horus Heresy 3.0. Oh, you thought that the drama train was over? Guess again? It just got worse. I don't mean to alarm you, but something very strange is happening with the third-party retailers. And we might just be beginning to see a product recall. A bold statement indeed. Grab your tinfoil hats and come with me on a journey. So first things first, just a quick summary of the events up until now. In case you have been a hermit living in the hills, the Horus Heresy 3.0 launch has not been going well for GW. It all started going kind of bad when they got caught red-handed lying to their customers. They had put out a series of Warhammer community articles saying that it's the same game, we've just tightened things up, everything in your collection will be okay for the new edition, only for a bunch of leaks to happen, because of course they did, this is Games Workshop, showing that that wasn't the case at all. And in fact, this was not just Heresy 2.5 like had kind of been promised, but was actually a whole new game. This was truly New Heresy version 1.0. Now, maybe Games Workshop could have got away with barefaced lying to their customers if the core rules and if the rules in general had been fantastic. But people took a look at them and immediately started going, whoa, what the hell is this? Janky terrain rules, the controversial decision to go from 6 turns down to 4 turns, difficulties with the new way that you build your armies, just to name a few. There were a lot of issues with the core rules that people were struggling to really find the positives in. And then you had the Liber rules where people's armies had just lost so much flavor, and some of them were just downright crippling. My army, for example, Death Guard, can only move 4 inches a turn if they want to use their Legion trait. But when the board is still 6x4, so it's still a large board, and there's only 4 turns, it basically makes my Legion trait just... I combine it with line of sight blocking terrain and how that works and everything. It just makes my Legion rule feel very, very uncomfortable. And I wasn't the only one. And Death Guard weren't the only one. There were many other Legion traits, and the Legion Libers, whether Heretic Libers or whether you're Static Libers, people were just like, this... Like maybe Thousand Sons are getting away with it, but everyone else is not having a good time. But there were a few people that had been saying that this was just a bunch of overblown nonsense. It was the typical internet drama getting blown out of proportion, and actually Heresy 3.0 was going to be fine. This is when the second wave of drama hit. That's right, we've not even covered the preliminaries yet, guys. This is when the second wave of drama hit, and that was with the fire sale. Only a few days after Horus Heresy 3.0 went on pre-order, several large retailers in the UK started a fire sale, taking the box from a usual 15 to 20% discount that you normally get with a third-party retailer, slashing it down to 35%, which was essentially selling it at cost, because most UK retailers can buy the box from GW at between 55 and 60% of normal price. So they get about 40 to 45% off. I believe it is about 40% off for most. If they were selling it at 35% off, so they only had a 5% margin, for all intents and purposes, that was them selling it at cost, if not a little bit at loss, because you've got to take into account they were going to have staff costs, storage costs. Basically, they were like, we need to get this off our books. Now, one of the points of controversy, one of the points of drama in that second wave was Alchemist Workshop, a third-party retailer in the UK who, unlike most retailers who just show... if they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then they just go like 10 plus. Alchemist Workshop actually show you the true amount that they have in stock. And they had a lot in stock. It was initially believed that Alchemist Workshop had started with a pre-order stock of 300, which is a very, very high number. And after the fire sale and everything that they could do to try and move this thing, that number crawled down to 242, meaning they still had a lot in stock. And based on a rough calculation of them buying this at 60% of retail, so about £117 per box. People worked out that they still had like 28,000 quid worth of stock they hadn't sold. But that's kind of the end of wave 2 of the drama. Now let's get into wave 3 of the drama. Part number 1. Alchemist Workshop's numbers have gone up again. That's right. I don't know why. I don't know how. Maybe they got more stock in. Maybe they had a bunch of people actually cancel the pre-order. I don't know. But after I put my video out, their stock numbers actually went up to 343, increasing the amount they had by over 100, just over 100. And at time of recording this video right now, they still have 318 in stock. So to me, it sounds like they got a second wave in. I don't know how or why, but they apparently got a second wave in. Alchemist Workshop, you brave, beautiful bastards. I gotta respect the balls on you. Now, having 318 still in stock represents a £37,000 amount of stock they still have. 117 times 318 comes out to 37,206. Quick maths. So that's still, that's a real chunk of change. But what if I was to tell you that was pennies? That was chump change in comparison to another retailer. So I want to do a big shout out to Hellstorm Mikey, because he has done a bit of digging on this whole Saturnine thing, and he has uncovered a big whopper. So I'll put a link down to this video down in the description below. It's definitely worth going and watching. There's a really good summary of this. He worked out that there was a way to game the system and find out how many boxes Wayland Games had of Saturnine. Because on their website, it normally just says 10 plus in stock. But if you add enough to your basket, then it'll start, if let's say you add like 2,000 to your basket, it'll say, oh, some of your order is on back order. So he basically started off with about 2,000 and then worked his way down until it stopped saying, oh, you've got some of your order on back order. Basically meaning this was the amount that you had available to buy right now. And he worked out that Wayland Games, at the time of him recording this video, had 945 Saturnine boxes in stock. Oh my God. That was after Wayland was the first company to start the fire sale and had been the ones that had basically got first in there to try and push out all of their Saturnine stock. That is insane. That is a massive, massive, massive number. How big a number, you ask? Well, using our very rough formula of £117 per box, representing about 40% off retail, is what's the normal rate that third-party retailers get. 117 times 945 comes to £110,565 of stock that Wayland Games had tied up in Saturnine after the fire sale. That is eye-watering. That is earth-shattering. It is important to note that Wayland Games, being a very large retailer, might get a better rate. Maybe they get 50%, maybe they even get it at 45%. But however you slice it, let's say they got it at 50% off. It is still tens of thousands of pounds, which they have invested in, which they have not been able to shift. But wait, there's more! Because after watching Mikey's video, I wanted to try and replicate the results myself. I thought it was a really cool system, but I wanted to just double check it, trust but verify. But I couldn't do that. It wasn't possible because apparently Wayland Games is awaiting a reprint of Saturnine. Now, I don't know about you, but I am highly skeptical of the fact that Wayland Games was able to shift 945 boxes in the one day since Mikey's video came out. I feel like maybe something has happened here. At first, I thought perhaps GW had punished Wayland Games. They were like, no, you can't do a big fire sale. That makes us look bad. Naughty. No more pre-orders for you. No more Saturnine for you. But when you look at the other products they have available for Horus Heresy, they still have plenty of 3rd edition stuff. Still got the Libers, and they still got the Mark II Tacticals. So that doesn't make sense. But there's even more. I know. How can this rabbit hole go any deeper? But after checking out what happened on Wayland's website, I decided to go and check out what had happened on Darksphere, because these were also one of the guys that had jumped on the fire sale. And they also didn't have the Saturnine box available on their website anymore. Now, last time I checked, before it went off, their fire sale meant that they had gone from having about 60 or so in stock to down to about 40 in stock. But that number hadn't moved since then. But suddenly, one day they've got 40 to 50 in stock. The next day, nothing. Nothing in stock. Not only not in stock, but not actually available on the website. That's kind of weird. It's kind of crazy. And again, I thought maybe these guys had been punished for the fire sale. But if we come over to Alchemist Workshop, they still have it available and they're still doing it as part of the fire sale. So clearly GW isn't punishing these people. They're allowing people to sell it at the deep discount. So what is happening with these two large retailers, two very large, well-known retailers in the UK that have gone from having stuff in stock to suddenly none? Now, I can think of 3 possible reasons for this. 1, they managed to shift all of their stock to somebody else. I find that unlikely. Any retailer worth his salt is not going to be stocking up on any more goddamn Saturnine. I mean, maybe unless you're Alchemist Workshop. Maybe that's where it all went. But maybe that could explain what happened with Darksphere, but it doesn't explain what happened with Wayland, who had 900 plus in stock. So I don't think option number 1 works. Option number 2 could be Games Workshop issued some kind of product recall. Now, maybe that happened. But if they did that, why has it only affected a couple of these retailers and not all of them? Could there be some preferential treatment there? This leads me on to the 3rd option. Wayland Games and Darksphere just sent it back. They were like, we don't want this product, GW. You've sold us a bum product and we are going to send it back. Now, if that's an option, that is going to cause a huge problem for Games Workshop. Because up until this point, third-party retailers have been holding the bag. GW may not have sold many products to the public, but they sure as hell sold a lot to third-party retailers. This was one of the bits of rumor, and I will say rumor here. I have no way of corroborating this other than what people have told me. But one of the rumors is that GW puts a minimum on what you need to buy if you want to qualify as a third-party retailer for a pre-order. So you can't just go, oh, I'll just have one. Your GW sales rep will say you've got to buy a minimum of 10 or 20. And with Saturnine, the rumors on the street, the scuttlebutt from the third-party retailers was the GW reps had been saying there was a very high minimum if you wanted to get in on the Saturnine pre-order. So either GW had great confidence in this product, will be charitable to them. But if the third-party retailers can send the product back, if they can go, no, we're not keeping this, and they can send it back, then it's not the third-party retailers which are going to be holding the bag. It's going to be GW. And if GW has allowed this in 1 or 2 places, but they're not allowing it with other third-party retailers, that could kick up a massive stink. But I do want to make one thing abundantly clear here. We don't know. That is just speculation. Speculation, it can be fun. Do you know what I mean? It's nice. Ooh, what if kind of thing. The only thing we know is that Wayland Games had hundreds in stock and now they have 0. Darksphere had dozens in stock and now they have 0. And other retailers still have many boxes of Saturnine in stock. And we don't know why Wayland and Darksphere have been able to get rid of theirs and other retailers haven't been able to get rid of theirs. So what do you think? Has the Heresy drama just hit a new low? Is there something fishy going on behind the scenes? Get your thoughts down in the comment section below. Do you think it's something as simple as Darksphere and Wayland were like, look, we're just not going to keep these things. We're just going to get rid of them, whatever it may be. And it's just a simple case of just clearing the warehouse? Or do you think there might be something else going on? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button. And if you want to see how this all develops, what the end result is, then make sure you subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian Glory Hole, today is your lucky day.